QB, wide receiver, O-line, tight end. Do we need to upgrade any position going to 2009, or is this offense set, ready to go for 2009? I'm discussing this with Coach Evans coming right out.
So guys, I'm here with the coach. The coach is here in the SCG Sports YouTube channel. I have Coach Evans. If you haven't checked this guy out, you have to check it out. He's close to 1,000 guys, so go ahead, subscribe. If you guys don't know, when we as YouTubers, we don't get any money. None.
Right.
Zero. As
Zero.
soon as we hit 1,000, then they check if we can get money. So please check the coach. He does a phenomenal job breaking film. If you don't know much about football, you're still trying to understand, the coach breaks film beautifully. He goes step by step. He goes replay by replay. It's a thing of beauty. So I'll let you introduce yourself, Coach.
How you doing on YouTube, SZG Nation? This is Coach Evans. I'm here. I represent the Sip to Tally podcast, the Sip to Tally Productions, which is my overall little company I'm starting today. Not today, but started with myself. And Ravens Roundup is my team, and I love the Ravens, so that's why I started with the film breakdown. I mean, I love football. It's what I do. It doesn't even feel like a job, and hopefully we can get over that 1,000, so we can at least get some crumbs off of this. But I love doing it. I'll do it for free. But if they want to give me something, I definitely take it.
Hey, that's what we all. Same here. I always do it. We enjoy it, guys. We do enjoy it. We do it for you guys. We just want to, get the opinion. So, one thing that this video is, we're gonna go through the entire Ravens roster on the offensive side only. We're gonna do a separate video for the defensive side, but today with the coach, we're gonna break the offensive side from quarterback to every position on the O-line to the backups to see if those backups could be starters, or are we bringing free agents? We don't, like I said. So we're going to start with the quarterback. So, obviously, Lamar Jackson. I don't think we have to do much about Lamar. Lamar's just the future. I keep saying, Coach, if you haven't seen a couple of my videos, I'd say that if Lamar can progress 25%, 25% in the passing game, I'm not expecting him to be Andrew Luck or Mahomes or none of these. But if next year his current passing, he can improve by 25%, I think he's going to be lethal. Because if you put then your 8-9 people in the box and his passing skill, if he can throw accurately to open receivers, he will have open receivers.
Exactly.
And if you try to cover, then he has the lanes to run. What do you think?
I feel the same way, and I think him being the number one guy from now until the season opens up, if he puts that work in from whenever he decides to start back football, because I'm sure he's taking a break now, to up until August or whenever we start going to camp, I think he'll exceed that 25% and get to like a 50%. Just look at the difference between Jared Goff in LA from his year one to year two. Even though I know he changed coaches and we're changing offensive coordinators, but his mechanics are what's the problem. And you can fix mechanics. Mechanics can be fixed with reps, because he got better toward the end of the year making the right reads. He just wasn't able to get his feet in the right position, or get his shoulder turn, or just make throws. He got better reading it, as the year went on.
Yeah. So one of the things that, at least for me, Lamar frustrates me is open receivers for some reason he throws it to the feet, and I'm like, dude, if he's open, completely open, and then he doesn't hit anybody on stride. He tends to hit them behind, which that can lead to interceptions in the future. But because everybody's playing so close, usually the guy can adjust and make the completion. But if he hits the receivers and strides, boom, that's a big play. Then you can see yak yards.
Yeah, two examples of that. The last game when I think he fumbled and he picked it up and broke out, and he had Willie Snead on a comeback route, and and just threw it at his feet. That's an example of that. And then, but when he throws it on time, you look at the play he threw to Mark Andrews in the first game versus the Chargers.
Ooh, that was
it's just night and day.
Agreed. So consistency.
On that. Exactly. Consistency.
So since we're in the quarterback, let me just put this asterisk. What do you think about the Roman being the OC now?
Roman was the OC, if I'm not mistaken, when Kaepernick made their run.
He was.
So I'm with that, because Kaepernick and that offense was pretty potent, and had we had more time in the game, I don't know what would have happened in that Super Bowl. Even though the lights went out, that's a whole nother story. but I think Roman's the right man for the job because he's had experience with a guy like that, and so as long as we open up the passing game and get intermediate to deep passing game going, he should have lanes to run. And I don't think we should have so many QB runs. Whereas when we call allow the guy to run pass plays, let him get those yards on scramble. I'd much rather have him scrambling where he can get a bunch of yards and protect himself, whereas he doing design quarterback runs so much where the linebackers or safeties have a chance to tee off on him.
I completely agree. I think one of the big things that I keep saying is as he develops his passing game, when you have 3 receivers out there and you're going to have space because now your corners are actually covering your receivers, you're going to have safeties, either 2 cover 2 or just maybe 1 on top.
Mm-hmm.
Then Lamar is going to have space for running. And he needs to learn how to slice because I want him,
Definitely.
So the only thing that I have with Roman is his offense has always been really good on the running when he was the OC in San Fran and Buffalo.
Mm-hmm.
But I'm passing, they're like bottom third of the league. So I'm hoping we also bring somebody that's more of a passing specialist just to work on Lamar. I'm hoping, and the Ravens are really good on not, being cheap of bringing coaches.
Mm-hmm.
Bring a guy that's just going to work with Lamar. Mechanics, just on the passing game. But
we have a spot open, right? Because Marty left. Is that right? Okay, so I know he declined whatever gig they tried to give him. So we have a spot open for somebody to come in and be a quarterback guy, and maybe even a pass game coordinator.
I agree. So hopefully. So that was the parentheses. So for Joe Flacco, we all know, Harvard already said it. Ravens put up a video saying what are good landing spots for Flacco. So we know he's gone. I'm hoping we can get a 4th-round pick. That's what I'm thinking. We can get compensation. Right. But anything is good. That's going to release $60 million for the cap.
I have a stat for you. I have everybody's salary on an Excel sheet.
Okay.
Joe Flacco himself made just as much as all 9 of our linebackers.
Oh yeah. Well, last year you mean?
He made $24 million. Yeah, his contract was $24 million. All 9 of our linebackers combined was $24 million. That's crazy.
He makes a good penny, which, I mean, to be honest, in today's NFL, everybody's quarterbacks is like 25 is the standard. Mm-hmm. For me, the problem was Flacco wasn't playing to the standards, right?
Right.
So that being said, next year he counts for $26.5 million.
Mm-hmm.
But if we trade him or cut him, which again I feel like we're gonna trade him, $16 million gets us the debt money, and we get 10.5 as cap relief.
Right.
So that's great.
That's money to use on the defense or the O-line.
Exactly. I agree. So going back, so Flacco's a goner, so we don't have to discuss much with Flacco. RG3, what are your takes on RG3? Should we bring in or not?
I would like to have RG3 back because he was a pro's pro. Every time he got in the game, he looked like he was ready. Like he didn't have the deer in the headlights look. He may not produce like we had wanted him to, but he came in ready to throw, ready to run the offense. Now I think he's going to test the market and see if he can find a starting job or an opportunity to start. But if he doesn't find that, I think he'll be right back in Baltimore because I know he would rather have a backup job than to have no job at all. At least I would in the NFL.
Yeah, everybody, right? So this is my take on RG. The problem that we have to bring RG is the quarterback market is not very good right now. Mm-hmm. Flacco, that's why we might get a lot for Flacco. Might get better than a 4th because the draft is weak.
Yep.
And the quarterback market is weak. Look, so I have what Bleacher Report's projecting their top 10. They have Teddy as the number 1. Teddy, I mean, he's young.
Bridgewater.
Yeah, Teddy Bridgewater, sorry. And then Tyrod Taylor's the number 2. And RG3 is the number 3 QB. That's insane. Last year, nobody wanted to give him a job. This year, he's the number 3. So I would like to bring RG3 on the right price. I thought he was a great mentor to Lamar. Like you said, he was ready. And you're not going to have a backup quarterback that is going to be as good as your starter QB. The only team that currently has that is, and it's not as good, is Philadelphia. And he's not as good as Wentz, but God, he's magical. Nobody can explain this boy.
Right.
But he wins. And
he wins games.
That's the important thing. You win the game, and that's what we play the games to win the damn game. So, RG3, I would love to bring him. Last year, he was only $1 million. I think if we bring him back, he's not gonna be as cheap. But if you can bring him at a reasonable price, maybe 2 or 3, maybe 2 mil with incentives in case he has to start. That's the type of deal that I can see for RG.
He should definitely be incentive laden. Definitely.
Exactly. But like you said, he was so good for Lamar. He was always there, and like you said, when he was called, he was ready to produce. He was ready. I like the guy. I hope we have him back in Baltimore. But if not, I mean, I wish him luck.
Exactly.
So
as far as a number 3 guy, we're gonna have to go and get one of those guys that's just those journeymen. Hopefully, we can bring somebody in that has the same, but not the same. Nobody's gonna have the same skill set. A similar skill set to what we have. Hopefully, we can have Lamar, RG3, and somebody that kind of fits that mold.
So what I'm thinking for number 3 is they're probably gonna draft a late round QB, and they're gonna stash it in the practice squad. That's usually what they have been doing. This was a different year where they have 3 QBs in the active 53-man roster. I know RG3 for the most part was inactive, but in the 453, before this year, I can't remember last time we had 3. To be honest, so
it's always been Tyrod and Joe.
And it was Tyrod and Joe, and then Joe and somebody else, Mallet or whoever.
Yeah, Mallet.
And then this was the first year we had 3, and it was because of the circumstance, right? So I think we're gonna still have 2, and then we're gonna put somebody in the practice squad just to have there. I don't think Woodrum can be in the practice squad no more. Don't quote me on that. I had to double check with that, but I don't think we can have him anymore. If we could, I think the Ravens probably will keep him because they like him. For some reason, the fans love him. I don't understand why they love Woodrum. Hey, people, he throws well against 4 streamers. So if the game was against 4 streamers, he will be a hell of a quarterback.
Right.
But the game is not against first streamers or second streamers.
Right.
You play against the starters. He is not a starting quarterback. But to have him in the practice squad, I'm fine with that. Okay, so we're gonna go through the depth chart of the Baltimore Ravens here. So for wide receiver number 1, the Baltimore Ravens currently have Willie Snead. So Willie Snead has 1 more year in the deal. And of the receivers, of all the receivers we have, I love Willie Snead.
Right, me too.
Willie Snead is so great. He catches the ball, and he fights for every damn yard. And he plays hard. He blocks. He does anything you need him to do to get that first down or the touchdown. And I love it. What's your take on Snead?
Willie Snead does a great job of finding zones. He's a quarterback friendly receiver. He's not gonna burn you over the top. He's not gonna overpower you with 100 or some catches. But he's a good intermediate third down guy that it's gonna be where you need him to be at. He's a heady player. He's kind of like a Eric Weddle for the offense. He's not the best athletically, but he's always where you need him to be and can make the catches when you need him. Because if we're gonna be successful, we're gonna need that intermediate passing game. I think Willie Snead is the guy to kind of help us do that because he did a great job of it in New Orleans and did a good job of it this year with Baltimore. It was a shame that Lamar's passing is not up to par yet, but if he stays, if he sticks with it, Willie Snead is going to be a big benefit to that. I can see Willie Snead catching 50, 60 balls next year if Lamar progresses like he needs to.
I agree because Snead plays. You know what people say about the tight ends? They just hit that, usually a curl for 8 to 15 yards, and they sit in the zone. Snead does a great job when Lamar's scrambling just to figure out where's that soft spot, like you said, in the zone. Sitting there, be ready for Lamar. So, yes, this year Lamar threw a lot of balls to his feet, which is frustrating. But I feel like next year, Lamar, again, as we said early in the video, as he progresses, Snead will be one of his best friends.
I agree.
So, the backup for wide receiver 1 is Chris Moore. To be honest, I don't see Chris Moore coming back, and it's because Chris Moore is a free agent. And Chris Moore needs to figure out a place where he can get paid. And here, if he comes back, he's coming for cheap. But he probably wants a place that he can do more than special teams. He can go improve himself as a receiver. And Lamar, as Lamar is learning, it's going to be hard for you to, unless you overpay him, which I don't want to overpay for him.
Right.
It's going to be hard for you to tell any wide receiver, like, hey, come to Baltimore for 1 year, prove me there like we did last year for Brown. What's your thoughts on him?
Chris Moore, he was a great special teams guy, and Chris Moore did a good job of blocking down the field when he did get his reps at receiver. as far as his route running was not the greatest when he had in cuts or out cuts. He could run your deep ball, a fade or a post or anything down like. He was good at that, and he could high point the ball fairly decent. But his route running and intermediate and things that we're going to need, based off the quarterback we have, he's not the greatest at. Now I like Chris Moore because he gives you all he has on every play. He's out there buzzing this, but a lot of those long runs you see with Gus and Lamar, Chris Brown is the guy that's out there blocking down the field. Whereas when you see Lamar or Gus get like an 8, some kind of run outside, it's probably Crabtree over there half blocking somebody. But I love Chris Moore. I just don't think, if he wants to be a starter, he's not going to be that guy in Baltimore. And I don't really know if he's a starter in the league. I think he's a 2 guy and a special teams guy, no matter where he goes. I don't think he'll get the opportunity to play like that. And I just nothing against Chris. I just think that's the type of talent he is.
So I love Chris Moore as how much effort he does in the field. Right. And I think his ceiling is maybe a number 2. Mm-hmm. But the problem that I have, or the reality is, all these wide receivers think themselves like, I can be a star. Mm-hmm. And he's not going to get the opportunity to show that in Baltimore.
Right.
So he's probably, like I said, he's probably going to go out there, find a team that's going to give him 1-year deal and try to prove himself. And again, I don't think he's going to be much. I think he probably already reached his ceiling as a receiver. Mm-hmm. But he's a great special teams player, which is probably how he's going to survive in the league for a couple of years.
Now, I think Lamar being the quarterback hurt Chris Moore.
Yeah, I agree.
Because the things that he's good at, Lamar's not good at. He's good at the deep balls, and Joe could throw a hell of a deep ball. And, that's kind of, that hurt Chris with the quarterback change. But, he still sucked it up, gave effort. And, when he got his reps, he gave you all that he had. And I really appreciate him for it.
Yes, I agree. And like I said, nothing against Chris Moore. He plays hard, and I love players to give me effort. It's just in this offense, as we're evolving, it's going to be hard for him to showcase his talent. So next guy is Crabtree. Now Crabtree is an interesting cap because we have a decision to make with Crabtree. He's 9.3 against the cap. Now our cap number, for those who don't know, projected right now 31.75 mil. Which this is before we cut Flacco, before we cut anybody. Which I don't know the last time I heard the Ravens having over 10 mil after the season's over, right? So, but with Crabtree, we had 9.3 mil cap number, and there's a 4.67 mil savings if we cut him. So I'll let you start. What do you think about Crabtree?
I think Crabtree underperformed this year. Again, that could be because of the quarterback situation. But he did a good job when he got opportunities. Well, let me take that back. Early in the year, he had the drops.
Yes.
Then he went to Joe and he did extra balls on the jugs machine and things like that. Next game came back, had a monster game. But shortly thereafter, the quarterback change happened. And so, he had a few drops that stand out after that. For the most part, when he got the opportunity, he made catches. And he did a decent job with scramble drill also with Lamar. And what Crabtree is, he's lost his speed, but he's still quick. Crabtree can run mean routes. He has good release. Very many people don't jam him up. He's good in the 10 to 15 yard range, but he has to be consistent with his hands. But as far as they did a lot of throwing the ball up for jump balls for him for Crabtree. He's not that guy anymore.
Nope.
He's not that guy. Now he does a good job of toe tapping and working the sidelines and doing those things, but he's not the jump ball guy that he used to be. And that's no knock on him. He's just an older guy, and Father Time's catching up with him.
So a couple things, in my opinion, with Crabtree. So number one, Crabtree's another one of those guys that will give you everything. And at the beginning, when Lamar was there, you can see his frustration, but then he bought in. Mm-hmm. And once he bought in, his demeanor changed. So if you remember Crabtree, as soon as Lamar came in, those first maybe like 2 games, he was frustrated. Mm-hmm. He was frustrated. He looked like he didn't want to be in the field, which I don't like. But after that, I don't know if Hart sat down with him, something changed. Mm-hmm. And he went back to give you effort.
Right.
Crabtree's our best route runner.
Hands down.
Hands down. And I don't see, again, us bringing any receiver that is better route running ability than him. Mm-hmm. And usually receivers out of college, with exceptions of a couple, are not really good route runners. That's something that you don't learn in college.
And I did a video today that's coming out tomorrow, and I did it on one of the best receivers in college, and his route running was not great. but he had good hands and he could fly. But his route running was not the greatest, and so that's a good point. A lot of guys get better at routes once they get into the league and work with older guys and work with older coaches.
So that being said, a lot of people are saying we're going to cut Crabtree, we're going to cut Crabtree. I don't see it because, again, you need at least one guy that can run routes, right? And they can make that defense respect his route running abilities. And we don't have that unless other than Crabtree. So I'm expecting us to keep Crabtree. Since we have the cap number, we can eat that, which is a little high for him. I said $9 million for Crabtree. Let me see. So 9.3. Again, that's for me is high for Crabtree. But at this moment, I think you have the cap number to eat that. And I think you keep him. You keep him because also you don't want to bring 6 new receivers to Lamar.
Right.
And I'm hoping Crab and Snead work with Lamar in the offseason to get better, to get that timing routes and all that. So I agree. I think Crabtree should stay, in my opinion. So they have Lastly as his backup. This is my deal with Lastly. Oh, he's one of the most frustrating guys that I've seen in a while. Well, since Perriman. Because Lastly's so damn fast. And he drops the ball like Perriman. He needs to work on his hands. If not, he's not going to survive. He was a 5th round pick, I believe he was. If he has to drop next year, I don't see us keeping him at all. We kept him because of the potential. And he does have potential. He's a big play guy. He's a young guy. He's great. It's not that he's not passionate. Like Perriman sometimes look like frustrated and like out. Lastly doesn't look like that. But Lastly, it's just those hands. So he needs to work on that if he wants to survive. What's your take on Lastly?
Just spot on. But I think we keep Lastly because we're going to need a burn guy, a blow the top off guy. Because I don't think John Brown's coming back.
Okay.
But we'll get to him in a minute. I want to see Lastly and what's the tall guy we drafted last year? I can't remember his name.
Jalen Scott.
Yes, I want to see those guys progress from year 1 to year 2 after spending the whole year around the team and on the practice squad because we need him. That should be our red zone guy. Standing at 6'5", 6'6".
Big boy.
That should be our red zone guy. Now, as far as we don't have to spend a lot on receivers because we have 4 good tight ends. We have 3.5 good tight ends. That's going to be the kicker right there. You got Hurst, and he'll probably be 100% next year. I like Max, and then Andrews was awesome this year. So having three tight ends that can do what they do in the passing game, you don't have to have 3 or 4 great receivers. You need 2, and maybe a guy that can rotate in. But you're gonna have to have a burner, and that burner is probably could be Lastly.
I agree. I love Lastly. If he gets his hands right, he is basically Brown but younger. If he gets his hands right,
I think more athletic too.
I agree. So since we talk about him, Brown, I agree with you. Brown said that he would like to come back to Baltimore. The problem with Brown is when he has the tape that when he had a quarterback that can throw down the field, and I'm just looking here for the wide receiver, how they're ranking them, he performed well. When Joe was there, he was balling.
Especially the Pittsburgh game. The first Pittsburgh game.
So look, Brown, they have him as an 8th wide receiver. And again, this is not a very big wide receiver class on the free agency side. Tate is the number 1. He ain't coming here in Baltimore. Right. Fitzgerald, I don't want him to leave Arizona, to be honest. I would love Fitzgerald here, but he's not leaving. I agree.
He said today he's loyal. He's not leaving.
I agree, and I want him to leave. He should retire in Arizona. Then you have Tyrell Williams, Moncrief, Jordan Matthews. But the only one in here that I might entice, but I don't think he want to go here is Devin Funchess. To just be that guy on the end zone. I agree. The problem with Funchess is I expected him more when he came out of the draft from Michigan. He's not consistent.
Right.
So, but I think he's probably going to another team that with a big time. None of these receivers, Randall Cobb is a number 10. None of these receivers are coming to Baltimore, and John Brown is not staying. John Brown is probably going to a team that has a big time quarterback, big time arm.
Right.
because he might want another 1-year prove me deal.
Right.
So again, he's not coming to Baltimore. I think you and me are on the same page.
He just doesn't fit. He doesn't fit what we do. Like the slant that almost was picked whenever we played our last game. I mean, he his body language was like it was Lamar's fault. But dude, you're 5'6", 5'8", whatever, 100 and nothing pounds. You got to sacrifice your body sometime. The guy just beat you to the spot.
So you know how
he wants to go over the top, and we're not that type of team right now.
Yeah, you know how I said the Crabtree's demeanor changed?
Mm-hmm.
Brown never did. Brown went
the opposite.
Yes.
I feel like Brown was bought in at first. When he stopped getting catches, when Crabtree bought in, he jumped out.
I agree. So, that being said, Baltimore, in my opinion, I think coach is in the same place. Willie and Crabtree are staying. Lastly, obviously, he's on a rookie of the year. We're hoping Jaleel Scott progresses. And that's it. That's our current receiving corp. On the free agency side, I see actually nobody right now. No one that you can bring. So that takes us to the draft, which I think this year we are gonna go receiver. And coach said that I'm gonna be giving opinions of what receivers that I like. Coach is gonna be doing breaking film. So again, check out his channel. Really good stuff. So we're gonna go to the tight ends, since you mentioned the tight ends. And there's a problem with your statement in the tight ends, coach.
Mm-hmm.
Andrews and Hurst. We don't have to talk too much about them because Andrews was a legit beast. I think he was a top tight end in the whole league as a rookie. Love the guy. I think Lamar has a good repertoire with him. Hurst had his moments. And hopefully after being healthy, one thing that Hurst has that Andrews didn't, when Hurst catches that ball, he explodes. He's fast for a tight end. I was like, dude, you can move.
Yes.
Which Andrews looks bigger, but it's a slower guy, which is great because you don't want two of the same guys. It's perfect that they complement each other.
Exactly.
But then Max Williams and Boyle are both free agents.
Mm-hmm.
I think we need to bring Max Williams. Yeah. Max Williams is such a underrated guy because he does everything you need. You want him to block, you block. Actually, you know what you do? You make him your fullback. You can make him your fullback. And he played great when he was on the fullback because he can leak and he has good hands. And he can move. So I think he should not be expensive. Although, if I go back to this list, they have Max Williams as a number 3 tight end.
The one I'm looking at, he's the 4 tight end.
Which is crazy. I'm surprised.
The guy I have in front of me listed as first, in my opinion, is the worst. And that's Nick Boyle. They have Boyle as 1, Hurst is 2, Andrews at 3, then Max Williams. And I think Boyle is number 4. That's why I said we have 3.5 tight ends.
Before you bring Boyle, in my opinion, you just go draft the guy. Unless he's super cheap. Right. This list has Eifert first. Eifert ain't coming here, but again, he's injury prone. I don't want him. Cook, I think he's the best tight end out there. He's going to get money somewhere. Luke Wilson, yeah. And then Max Williams 4th. You're right, so it was 4th. And I think Max Williams is a Raven. He fits perfectly what we're doing. Mm-hmm. Again, he's just underappreciated. I would love for us to bring him back. He's a hell of a player, and he bought in. I like the guy. And that's your 3 tight ends. And you can draft somebody in the late rounds and make it your 4th tight end. And like I said,
practice squad player.
Yeah, and like I said, goes back with Ricard. I think Ricard might be back. I don't know, but Max Williams is a better fullback than Ricard because he can offer you more in the passing game.
Right. So I agree with you with those tight ends. If we can get Max back for a reasonable dollar amount, I would love to have him back. He fits the system. He's been in the system. He knows what we're going to. He's a heck of a blocker out of the back. I mean, in the backfield and a pass catcher.
I agree. So again, I think me and the coach are in agreement. I don't see any free agent tight ends coming back other than our own Max, right? So that being said, let's go to the O-line. People love to break our O-line. And our O-line started very slow.
Yeah.
And I think, and I saw a lot of your videos breaking down the O-line, so I'm going to let you talk a little bit more on the O-line, offensive line side. But our O-line, guys, which is what you want to see, it kept progressing. Although the last week, it was, the playoff game was horrible. Mm-hmm. It was atrocious. But before that, they kept progressing. And our O-line is very young. Other than young, that you're not spending a lot of dough in this O-line. So let's start with the tackles.
Okay.
We have Stanley and we have Brown.
Okay.
I think Stanley's a good blindside tackle, left tackle. He's not spectacular. He's not great. He's not top 5 in the league. But I think he's top 10 in my opinion. It's just people think a 6-round pick should be like the best tackle in the league.
Mm-hmm.
But he is really good. And people, I don't know why they bash him so much. I think Stanley does a good job. What's your take on Stanley?
Stanley's a good young tackle. He has a massive frame. The thing is with Stanley, he's a great run blocker. He's not a great pass blocker yet, but he has potential. He flashes times where he can kick slide and get a hold of people and get back on counter moves and whatnot. And there's also times where he would just beat off speed on the edge. But I didn't see very many people just straight bull rushing. So he does a good job of dropping his butt and fighting off those bull rushers. But he doesn't do well with speed. And but as far as a young guy, this is his second or third year maybe at the most.
That was his third, yeah.
That was his third year. That's still young for a tackle. That puts him right around 25.
Yeah.
And for the price we have for him, I see him as being one of our bookends along with the other guy, with Brown.
So it goes back to Brown. Brown, I felt like, again, if you see his film, week by week, he got better. And people thought Brown can't move, and he was making blocks on the second level. He was moving well. I was surprised, to be honest. I was surprised at his feet, how good he moved. I like what I seen from Brown. I think we have our right tackle of the future. What's your take on Brown?
Brown did everything that I expected him to do coming out of Oklahoma, even though his combine was not as good. And the thing that he was weak at his combine was what showed during the game. When guys wanted wanted to bull rush him, he struggled with that. He handled speed fairly well, but as far as bull rushing, he wouldn't drop his butt and just set his feet and shuck people and push because he wasn't as strong as he needed to be. But I think a good offseason in the weight room and things like that will get him right.
Yeah, he definitely needs to sink better and hold his position more firm because I think there's potential. And as a third-round pick, guys, I think he was a steal. Hell of a pick for Aussie.
Right.
So I don't think we need to talk too much about Yanda. I think Yanda's Yanda. He's solid. This boy is spectacular. I think he's coming to his last year of his contract. I think we need to extend him. He should retire Raven. He's still balling. He came out of an injury. He started slow. I mean, he didn't start, but then and with all the young pieces we have, Yanda is a great mentor.
Right.
Even for Lamar. I love when he was it in the Browns game
about sticking the ball out.
Yeah, he went and like, don't stick it out, and that's what you need. You need offensive leaders that go to him like, yeah, you see what you did here? Don't do that. Guys in this league, they will catch up to you. So I love what I see for Yanda. I don't think we need to discuss much about Yanda.
Right.
Well, we need to go to the left guard side. So they have here as Alex Lewis, but let's be honest, we know it's Hurts is probably the starting left guard.
Yeah.
So this is what I struggle. I expected from both Alex Lewis and Hurst way more than what they gave me this year. Way more. Hurst actually was decent on the right tackle as a left guard, which last year he was pretty good. This year was crap. I was like, dude, what the hell's wrong with you? I thought you were better than this. We pay you for something. You giving me this effort? No. So I was frustrated with Hurst, and don't even get started with Lewis. Lewis was my biggest disappointment of the year. Of the whole year, it was Alex Lewis. I was expecting Alex Lewis to be a legit left guard in this league. So what is your take on both of them?
Well, actually, we can stick Bozeman in there too at left guard.
Yeah.
Those three guys were not up to NFL standards at left guard, well, Raven standards at left guard. And granted, they're in NFL, so they were good at some level. That was the weak link on our team. Granted, we have young guys, and they had times, but when people wanted to get a pass rush on us, they did it at left guard. Check out the last Chargers game. They put, they only had the 4 D linemen. They would take number 42, whoever he was, some scrub, put him on the edge. Then they would stand up Ingram over the left guard. And that's where the pressure came from most of the game. And even when we switched and put Bozeman in, maybe in the third quarter, they were doing the same thing. Most of the pressure came from the left guard. Now, granted, everybody got beat a time or two. 75 to 80% of that pressure came from the left guard spot.
I agree. I was surprised when I saw Ingram Ingram, and I think they did it with Bosa one or two times too. I was like, are they playing inside? And
They
I was
were.
like, damn, I know why. We had those bums there. So with Bozeman, I will give Bozeman. Bozeman's a 6th-round pick rookie, so you can expect to have problems with Bozeman. Lewis is in his 3rd year.
Right.
I'm not expecting him to be perfect, but and then with Hurst, at this point you're in your contract. You already earned a contract. So I was disappointed with both of them. Illuminor, I don't see him. He's probably gonna get cut at the end of the year.
Probably.
The other guy we had was I'm blanking on his name. We drafted him last year, Sanant. We'll see what he does. On the preseason, he was decent. He did his job. He was a 5th-round pick, I believe he was, but again, he needs to earn his spot. I think they're probably gonna give Sanant one more year before Luminor, because now they've seen Luminor for 2 years. They bring him back, but if he doesn't produce in the preseason, he's gone.
And so that makes a little more than Illuminor anyway. So, I think he makes like 60,000 more than Illuminor. So
he does.
So now makes 392,000, and Illuminor makes 326,000.
Okay. So like I said, in my opinion, Illuminor is probably gone next year. So it goes now to the center spot. Segura. That for me, I know you said the left guard was the weakest link. Through the 16 games, if I take the 16 games from week 1 to week 17, for me, the player that I said that I was most disappointed about was Alex Lewis. But the player that I least believe in, and he proved me right, was Segura.
That you least believe in?
I didn't like it. Coming in the year, I was like, this is our weakest link. Because I thought Alex Lewis was going to be good. And again, for me, it was a disappointment. But Segura, he frustrates me so much. And I think it's not that he doesn't hustle. It's just he's small for being a center. I think next year, hopefully, it's an open competition between him and Bozeman. Because even though Bozeman played left guard, he came as a center.
From Alabama, yeah.
Yes. So, and then Segura played left guard last year. He was a center from, I think it was North Carolina, 3 or 4 years ago. So, Segura's coming up to his last year, his deal, which usually players tend to play even more because they want to get paid. But I want to make it an open competition between Bozeman and Segura. But for me, this is the position we need to upgrade. Paradise from the Broncos is out there. He's one of the best centers, rated centers. The problem with him, he gets injured. And after him, I think not anybody, but there's a lot of upgrades in Segura. It's just these people are going to command too much money for us to bring a guy. Right. And it's I haven't checked the centers coming out of college or the left guards, but I think one of the two needs to be addressed from somebody outside of the team, either the left guard or the center. But give me your take on Segura.
I don't think Segura was as bad as you think.
You don't think so?
I even did a video saying that he was not the problem up front. But that was when I think Joe was still playing at the time, and we were doing a lot of pass blocking. Segura was okay. I mean, he had his moments. He wasn't as bad as the left guard position as a whole. I don't think center was as bad as the left guard position as a whole. I do think both of those positions need to be addressed. One by free agent and one by draft. Because I think if we get a left guard at free agency, we can draft a center or somebody that's versatile to be a backup and go from there. Somebody that's going to compete for the job, because one of those jobs is probably going to be held by a young person. Let's go ahead and say that. But we need at least 2 solid tackles, 2 solid guards to get the things done we need to. And even our center doesn't have to be that big. He just needs to understand leverage and be smart and know how to make the calls.
No, I agree. I do agree with that, and this is why I have you, man, because I know you break the film on the O-line. I'm not a big fan of Segura, but I do think if you have a better left guard, that will help them, right? Because then you have Yanda, and if you have a legit left guard, obviously Yanda's one of the top guards in the whole league. If you have a legit guard, then if he has deficiency, you're gonna help the center.
And for what we do running the ball, there's a lot of double teams happen with the center and the guards. So if you got a big time left guard and Yonder, that's gonna help out whoever that center is. He doesn't have to be this massive, this big time player that commands a whole bunch of money. If we can get I spend money on the left guard. That way you got 2 all pro or all Pro Bowl guards that can help the center out, and the center can work off those two guys. As long as the center is smart enough to make the line calls, I feel like he should be good enough. All he needs to do is make line calls, understand leverage, and don't get bull rushed.
There's a rumor out there that the KO might get cut. KO was great with us, to be honest. The only problem with KO, he was not always, but he tends to get injured. I don't know how he played the last couple of years. Obviously, see, he's in Oakland. He's not in our division. I haven't followed him that closely, but if he can get 90% of the KO we had here, definitely bring him because he's going to be major upgrade to what we currently have. Okay, so that's the O-line. I agree with you. One of the things that, guys, you have to figure out is we have a first-round pick, which is our 22nd, I think it is currently.
22nd.
And then we don't have a second-round pick. We go all the way to the third. So Ravens being Ravens, what I expect is them to trade this pick. I'm expecting them to trade because right now the receivers, how they're mocking them is gonna be
late.
It's gonna be like in the 20s. So you can get the first receiver, but what I'm expecting is maybe they trade with the Colts. They have the second pick in the second round and maybe get an extra third because I think you need to draft more than one receivers and you need to draft either a center or a guard, even if it doesn't start this year for the next year. And I do think of all these linemen we talk, I think they're probably gonna keep Lewis for one more year in his last year in Hurst because even though I'm bashing them, they're versatile. Right. Lewis can play guard and he can play tackle. Hurst can play guard and he can play tackle. So those two expect them to
Bozeman
stay.
also.
And Bozeman, those three. I agree. Those three are going to be your backup unless you bring an early rookie and he can display one of the guys. But those three, I'm expecting them to stay. So that's the line. Again, I think the line was way better than people bashed them for. And they're young guys, so we're going to keep progressing.
One last thing on the O-line. We were way better run blockers than we were pass blockers. When Joe was in and we passed the ball as much as we did, the O-line looked atrocious. When we switched after the bye week and started running it more, you can see the progression of them, running the ball, pounding people. We got two big tackles, 2 6'5", 6'6" tackles. And they just by the third, fourth quarter, them laying on people. That gets tiring, and we get those big runs in the second half. But pass blocking, that's Melvin Ingram's game. That's those smaller defensive ends game, and they're not ready for it yet. I think they can get ready more so Brown than Stanley because Brown is younger, and Brown has some sweet feet to be a big guy. Some of the blocks where he gets to the second level, man, it's amazing for a kid to be that big and to move like that.
I wouldn't want to be the other guy.
Right.
Seeing this boy coming on to me, I'm gonna just lay down.
Exactly.
Old. So yeah, I agree. The line, there's a future. And the other thing, guys, once Jackson was there, the guys actually did also a better job on passing because the threat of the run. So those rushers, if you saw those ends, other than the last game, but if you saw the outside linebackers, when we were doing play action or Lamar was sitting there in the pocket, they didn't want to rush. You know why? Because they're afraid that they're gonna lose containment and he's gonna just burn them on the edge. So that also helps the line. So again, if Lamar can progress 25%, if Coach said 50, if he's 50, we're going far. But for me, if it is 25%, I think he's gonna be. For second year, he's going to be amazing because now you have a legit third on passing game. So, last position for the offense, we're going to talk about running backs. So, running backs, we have Gus Edwards, Dixon, are the only two that we have on contract. Allen and Montgomery are free agents. So, my opinion, Gus is a perfect runner for Lamar. Lamar is the one reading on the option, on the read option. He's reading the end. If he sees the end crashing, he takes it and runs. And if he sees the end just opening wide, he gives it to Gus. And Gus doesn't see the thing with Gus is what you need from that running back is you don't want him to think too much. You want him to go and hit the hole and go
downhill.
Exactly, because Lamar's already doing the read. It's not like your eye formation.
Right.
On that read option, Lamar is the one that is reading the play.
Mm-hmm.
You want him to read, and I thought Dixon wasn't that runner, but he proved me wrong. He doesn't do it as good as
Yep.
Gus, but what Dixon does is on the open field, he's shiftier. He can. They're both strong, but Dixon and that dude is big, and
Yes.
He's eating too much. He's big, but he is super shifty for being this big.
Right.
I'm surprised.
Not long ago, he was a small guy.
I know he has grown. This suspension, he wasn't on a diet. Let me tell you.
Right. Now, as far as the running back goes, let me look at this real quick. Um, Gus did a lot of the read option, dive option type things. And when Kenny Dixon was in the game, we ran different plays. We didn't run the same plays. We ran the counter with Kenny Dixon.
We did.
We ran a little some outside runs with Kenny Dixon. And then when Ty Montgomery came in, we basically ran like power read and things like that, where he would, where Lamar he would still read the end, and if the end crashed, he would give it to Ty Montgomery going wide. And if somebody hesitated with that wide look, he'd take it and keep up the middle. That's one of the plays he scored on the Browns on. So and I'm sure other coaches saw it too, because I know I saw it. When we had different running backs in the game, we ran certain plays. And I hated that we did that because I'm watching film on a part-time basis because I got 2 other real jobs.
Yeah.
These guys watching film all day, every day,
yeah.
so I know they see it. But like I said, Edwards was our dive option type guy. He very rarely ran the counter. Kenny Dixon ran the counter, ran power, and then Ty Montgomery kind of did the outside type stuff. And
I agree.
Buck kind of got phased out when Lamar came in.
He did, and I don't know. I have a mixed feelings with Buck because he's such a great special teamer. So
I'm a Buck homer because I work at the high school Buck went to.
Okay.
He was not there while I'm here, but I'm a Buck homer because he represents our Trojans fairly well.
Gotcha. So for me, Buck, the problem I think that they have with Buck is for the style of running game that they had, he doesn't fit. He has great hands. He has really good hands for a running back. But Montgomery has equally, if not a little bit better hands, and he can run a little bit better for this style. I'm not saying he's a better running back for the style we were running. So that being said, I think Buck obviously is not coming back because he's probably, why would he want to come back to Baltimore? He's going to try to find another job.
And he's our highest paid running back.
Yeah, and so he's out. Montgomery, I just think, I don't know. I would like for them to keep one running back that has good hands. And Dixon has decent hands, and Edward has decent hands. They haven't showcased it. They might have better hands, and the team hasn't showcased that. So that being said, the problem is money.
Right.
I think Ty Montgomery is probably going to be cheap. So if he's cheap, I would like to bring him back because he's a security blanket. And you know what he does really good that I wasn't expecting him to do? Blocking.
Right.
He
understands blocking.
Exactly. He knows where to go, who to block, and that is hard. Not all running backs can do this.
Right.
And he can block. A lot of running backs just dive in, try to. Hopefully, I can get the guy.
Now Buck was good at that too when Joe was in the game. Buck was good at picking up blitzes and blocking for him. But the run game was different for Buck.
No, I agree. I think both of them are best blockers. So I think we might give Montgomery on the right price. Buck is gone. And I think the other 2 guys are good enough. I see people on Twitter saying bring Bell. Bell is not coming here. Not because, obviously, this is a good running style game, but this is not the running style that Bell wants.
Well, I think he could flourish here, but I don't think we'll pay him the type of money he's going to command.
That's what I was going to say.
Yeah.
Bell turned out a $15 million deal per year.
Right.
We ain't not going to pay more than 15 to a running back that might have 2 or 3 more good years. I don't know.
Right.
He might have 5, but running backs tend to be short. Mark Ingram, I like his style, but again, he's probably going to command a lot of money. I don't see us bringing him. Gore's old.
Gore's too old, yeah.
Yeah. Adrian Peterson.
Too old.
Marshawn Lynch. This is the top 10, guys. What I'm reading is literally the top 10 free agent list that they have. Tevin Coleman, he's going to get paid. Powell, Jay Ajayi, I think. I mean, if he's cheap, but he tends to get injured, so Allen they have as a number 9, and Murray the number 10. To be honest, I think what we're gonna do is we keep Edwards, we keep Dixon. We also have Thompson that we had last year from the practice squad. He'll be back. Turner, sorry, not Thompson. Turner. He's a big boy. He is a big boy. So we bring him back because he's cheap. He's in a rookie deal. We're probably gonna sign Ty Montgomery to a decent deal. And then we're probably gonna draft or bring somebody from the.
What is Alex Collins a free agent?
Okay, so Alex Collins is an interesting cat. I think he is a restricted free agent. So he can cost money if we tag him to a higher round pick. I think he was an undrafted guy. I think. So if we leave him as an undrafted guy and somebody sign him, they don't have to give anything to us. I think Collins was in the doghouse. Collins remarkably had this injury, and then he went on IR.
Right.
And if you see him in the sideline, this bad boy is jumping, running.
Right.
I think he didn't want to play. He didn't fit with the problem with Collins. Again, he was good with Joe.
Collins is an I-back.
He's an I-back. He's an I-back. And the problem that I have with Collins is he doesn't hit the hole right because he's always dancing.
And bouncing.
And if you have a great O-line, that's great.
Yeah.
But in our O-line, that hole is open for this much time.
Right.
Maybe half a second. So you need to hit that hole fast. With Lamar, again, that's not the type of runner he is. So I think we're probably, in my opinion, we're now going to bring Collins. We're going to leave him as a undrafted tender. And if nobody picks him up, I think he's listed $1 million, and we might let him compete. And if not,
$30,000.
Yeah, and if
we don't have any back that's at $1 million.
No, yeah, and that's what I'm saying. I don't think the team wants to spend that money on the backs. So, okay, guys, we're here for 15 minutes, but just to recapping, I don't think, and I think Coach is in the same boat, not a really good free agency class on the offensive side to bring to the team.
Right.
If anything, I see ourselves drafting more on the offensive side.
And developing what we have.
And developing what we have. Lastly, and Jaleel Scott, both of them, we need big years for them or big progressions. Obviously, Lamar, and the reverse of free agents, or not a free agent, a rookie. So, hands for him. It's really important for him to break on blocking. Again, another reason why bringing Ty will help those guys.
Right.
On the learning process. And if we bring any player, it's probably going to be an interior lineman. We're talking about probably a left guard. It's the only position that I see us bringing in a free agent. Other than that, I know a lot of people are saying, let's cut Crabtree. I don't see it. I think we need to keep Crabtree. You need to keep a decent amount of receivers coming back for Lamar just to have that repertoire. And as Coach said, Crabtree and Snead that they do a really good job on presenting themselves in those broken plays.
Right.
And Crabtree's the only route runner we have.
Yeah.
It's literally
he's by far the best route runner we have. Crabtree he's always been a route runner. He's one of those few guys that can run routes out of college. This guy caught what 250 balls in 2 college years. That's unheard of.
I agree. And guys, I know it's frustrating that you're like, whoa, but where's our big time receiver? What we need is we're gonna be a running team. But what we want to do is we're gonna have a lot of opportunities for pass. So as long as Lamar develops a little bit more, we should be good. So, Coach, tell the guys where they can find you.
On Twitter, you can find me at Coach Evans 9. Follow me on there. I talk ball all times. If you say something to me, 9 times out of 10, I'm gonna get back with you unless my wife has me strangled up. And on YouTube also, it's my name, Ivan Evans. You can search Ravens Roundup. That will get you to the spot you need to be in, and that's where you can find me at, guys.
So, guys, I'm gonna put a link below to his YouTube channel. Again, if you like breaking film, and he's gonna talk about receivers, which I think is gonna be a first-round pick, a receiver. So check those videos up. Like I said, link below. Hit him up. He's near 1,000 subscribers, so let's help him. Let's help him, guys. And you're gonna love his channel. If you love football and if you want to learn more about football, hit him up. Great guy. He's a coach. He's definitely a coach, and you will learn from him. Guys, another thing is we're almost in the 150. In my case, I'm a smaller channel. Once we hit a 150, there's a giveaway that's coming up like we did when we had 100. So be ready for that. And like I said, also, this is the first part of the two-part series. This is the offensive side. Defensive side is very different from this video because the defensive side, there's even more options and more things you have to figure out about the cap or if you're going to bring free agents. So stay put. That's coming next week. Anyway, guys, thanks for coming. Hope you like the conversation. I'll see you next time, guys.
Make sure you like, comment, subscribe.
Right. So, guys, there's our conversation. What do you guys think? Where do you think we should upgrade? Any position in particular? Any free agencies on the offensive side that we should upgrade? Again, all information from Coach Evans will be down in the description below. Next week, we're going to do the same thing on the defensive side. So, stay tuned for that. If you like the video, please give it a thumbs up. Subscribe to the channel and follow me on Twitter at szg.sports. I will see you next time.
Throwing to the D counted as receptions. The past was legendary, but don't sleep on the present. Our secondary make quarterbacks avoid that direction.